Is it love, or are you just a useful tool? It's a tough question, but one we should all consider. We talk about red flags, but how do we know it's not just a bad day? Are we blinded by love, ignoring the obvious? We want to trust our partners, but at what cost? Are you the only one giving or just upset? You deserve answers. Let's see if you're in a love shack or a toolbox. Let's talk about disinterest. Does talking to them feel like you're talking to a wall? You try to tell them about your day, share something exciting, and it's like nothing. If you feel like they don't know anything about you and aren't even interested in knowing about you, that's a big problem. It's one thing to be a little distracted sometimes. We all have those days. But if it's constant, if they're consistently checked out, and you feel like you could be replaced by a potted plant, well, that's not love. Ask yourself, are you being loved, or are you just a placeholder labeled partner? Look, we all have expectations in a relationship. We expect our partners to be respectful, to contribute, to be there for us. That's normal, that's healthy. But there's a big difference between healthy expectations and unrealistic demands. Red flag time is when those expectations become weirdly unattainable. It's like they're constantly moving the goalposts, and nothing you do is ever good enough. They're never satisfied, and their resentment just keeps building. You're human, not a genie in a bottle. Remember that. Boundaries. We all have them. They're the lines we draw in the sand to protect ourselves, our values, our well-being. And in a healthy relationship, those boundaries are respected. But what happens when they're not? Have you ever had a loved one trample over a boundary you've clearly delineated time and time again? They laughed it off, said you were being too sensitive. But it wasn't a joke, was it? It was important to you, and they knew it. If after a confrontation the response is still, "Come on, it's not a big deal," or "You don't really care about me," you're not a person to them, you're a tool. Relationships are a two-way street. It's about give and take, about mutual respect. Life happens, people go through things. Sometimes one person needs to lean on the other. But there needs to be a balance. Both need to be putting in the effort. We live in a world where entitlement seems to be running rampant. People feeling like they deserve special treatment, special privileges, all without actually earning it. If you're with someone who constantly feels entitled, who believes the world owes them everything, chances are they're bringing that same mentality into your relationship. They expect you to cater to their every whim, to anticipate their every need, to shower them with love and affection without them having to lift a finger in return. Well, I'm here to tell you, you deserve better than to be treated like a servant to their ego. Relationships are like plants, folks. You need to nurture them, you need to give them sunlight and water, you need to help them grow. If you don't, they wither and die. Now, I'm not saying you need to be constantly changing and evolving every single day, but there needs to be a sense of forward momentum. You need to be growing together, learning from each other, supporting each other's dreams. If the relationship feels stagnant, if it's stuck in a rut, and neither of you is making an effort to move forward, that's a big red flag. Communication is key in any relationship. You need to be able to talk to each other, to share your thoughts and feelings, to work through problems together. But what happens when communication becomes impossible? What happens when every conversation feels like you're walking on eggshells, terrified of setting them off? If you can't talk to your partner about anything, even the little things, without it turning into a major blow-up, that's a huge problem. You deserve to be heard, not silenced. This one's a real doozy, folks. This is when your partner seems to have a split personality. In public, they're charming, they're attentive, they're everything you ever wanted. But behind closed doors, it's a completely different story. The mask comes off and the real them comes out. The condescending remarks, the dismissive attitude, the constant criticism. It's like they're two different people and you're never quite sure which one you're going to get. Trust your gut, folks. If something feels off, it probably is. Look, relationships are tough, but they should also be a source of joy and support. If you're feeling used and unloved, take a step back. Analyze why you feel that way. It might be a bad day or a signal to care for yourself. Remember, you deserve love for who you are. Catch you next time.